So today's topic is confidentiality. Confidentiality is the most important matter. Confidentiality is the information obtained during the business relationship should be kept confidential and should not be disclosed without the proper rights or authority to do so. So there are times when the disclosure of information is to be made and you have to breach the confidentiality agreement between you and the client. There are two disclosures that are required. That is, one, voluntary or public, when you have to do a disclosure voluntary or in the public interest, and whenever you have to do a voluntary disclosure or a public interest in disclosure, you always have to take a legal advice. So what are the circumstances when a voluntary disclosure is to be made and confidentiality agreement is to be breached? Example, you are doing an audit of a hospital and anything that affects public at large, for example expired medicines in inventory. So this is a hospital is a public, it's not a public company, but it is dealing in the public, it is affecting the public. So any activity that is affecting the larger public, so you have to make, if a disclosure for example required, so you are going to take a legal advice. But on the other hand, the disclosure is obligatory, required by law. So this is usually happen when something is against laws and regulation and you have to make a disclosure. It's not disclosure always to, in both of the circumstances, to the public. Maybe you have to make a disclosure to the authority. For example of disclosure required that is obligatory by law is money laundering, tax evasion, fraud, non-compliance with laws and regulation. So disclosure means the breach of the confidentiality agreement between you and the client is going to be voluntary or by law. Whenever the disclosure is voluntary, public interest, you have to take the legal advice, and when it is required by law, means something is against the law. So examples include money laundering, tax evasion, fraud, non-compliance.